Mountain biking is one of the most popular activities around the world. It provides a great day out with the family. It offers exercise, challenge, adventure, thrills, and solitude. Today, advances in bike technology and rider experience are fueling new styles of riding. Cross-country riders are looking for long rides to increase their endurance. Downhill riders are seeking speed and technical challenge. Free riders want the thrills and excitement of conquering challenges.
Or even for hikers. A lot of hikers are looking for...
Not only are more people riding bikes, more people are volunteering to design, build, and maintain mountain bike trails. In this program, we will show you how to build sustainable single track. These trails wind around trees and large rocks. They require focus and tend to reduce speed. They provide a close connection with nature and can be an exciting outdoor experience.
It takes concentration, it takes skills, it takes a bit of physical aptitude to be able to ride single track. But it's also aesthetically pleasing. A single track looks better than a double track. From the perspective of a bicycle seat, seeing something that's literally 14 to 18 inches wide just keeps you on track, and it takes you through the various topographies and through the geologic features, and it's easier to keep from eroding.
This program is a supplement to the International Mountain Bicycling Association's guide, Trail Solutions, IMBA's guide to building sweet single track. This video will give you an introduction to the basics of building mountain bike trails that can be enjoyed by cyclists, hikers, and horse riders. It has 8 chapters. The most important steps. Trail design mistakes. Designing sustainable trails. Let's get dirty. Armoring. Creating challenge. Maintaining trails. Reclaiming trails. Building relationships and gaining permission from the land manager are the most important steps in designing and building trails. The first step in building this working relationship is getting to know your land manager.
Well, I think the first thing you do is simply get to know the local district ranger, get to know the local trail planner, and build a relationship with those people and find out what their needs are. So get to know who the other interests are in the area, who are the other people in your community that have an interest in trails. We're trying to provide a broad range of experiences to people out there. The more you can show that there's a broad base of support for your proposal, the more successful you'll be.
Ride your bike up to
The next step is to present your ideas for a trail system to the land manager in a detailed proposal. An effective proposal clearly outlines the goals and benefits of the trail. Where will the trail be located? What kind of experiences are you trying to create? Who will build it? And who will maintain it once it's built?
A really important step is to go to the field together with the Forest Service or whatever land management agency you're dealing with. Spend time in the field, looking at the trail, looking at the countryside, and talking about what the needs are, where the trail might go, what kind of obstacles there might be to putting a new trail in or rerouting a trail.
After you have established a relationship with the land manager and presented your ideas, be patient. It takes time to get trail designs approved.
Sometimes that's a hard line to walk because it's a slow process. All those hoops you have to jump through, and so you wait a year. The first year you want to start building trail, and then you plan ahead and you get the next trail idea out there, and so that can go through all its review process. And then when you're done with the trail you're working on currently, the next one's ready to go and it's all cleared. You just have to be patient. It's worth it. It's worth it to ride these trails. It's worth it to have these trails for our kids to ride.
6, 5, 8, 9.
The time frame for this process largely depends on whether an environmental study for the area has been done.
Well, if the area that you're referring to, the actual piece of ground, has already been studied and they've done the environmental assessments and they know what's there, that type of proposal could be done in a matter of weeks. If it hasn't been studied, then we're going to have to go through that study process to determine if this is a viable place to put a trail. And that can take between 18 months and 2 years.
Sometimes the study process can become frustrating. Don't be tempted to go off and build your trail without permission.
Problems I see with illegal trails are, some of the first things that come to mind are it may seem like a good trail and it's harmless, but what you may not know is that it goes through a patch of noxious weeds, or that it's going through some critical wildlife habitat that you may not know about. If it's an illegal trail, it's out there on the landscape and we're not taking care of it. If you want to have a good trail system, it's best to come forward with your ideas about trails and work together on building trails that are sustainable. We can do that best all together rather than separately.
Does this look like a trail you ride? There are 2 trail design mistakes that cause water to erode trails. 1. When trails are built on the prevailing slope or the fall line, water gets on the trail, gains velocity as it moves downhill, starts moving soil and rocks, and creates ruts that get deeper over time. When users avoid the ruts, the trail becomes wider and wider, spoiling the single-track experience. The other design mistake is building on flat ground, causing water to puddle and stay on the trail. And in low-lying areas, mud bogs develop. Again, the trail widens over time.
To define sustainability from a mountain bike perspective, it really means creating and maintaining trails that are going to be here for a long time. Trails that don't erode and affect water quality or affect really any other parts of the natural ecosystem. The one key is to keep water off the trail. If you can do that, most other things will take care of themselves. Water basically is the enemy.
To start your trail layout, use a topographic map. The contour lines show elevation differences. The closer the lines, the steeper the terrain. On the map, locate positive control points, destinations like scenic overlooks, waterfalls, lakes, rock outcroppings, and other features that people enjoy. Draw your trail, connecting these places, following contour lines.
A lot of it's just the contour, it's the flow. It has to feel right. You have to imagine you're on a bicycle or you're hiking. Picture a contour map. You can see those little lines and you can just see those lines and they're just so fun to ride. They're just so fun to be out there on.
In your design, try to use loop configurations. Loops are appealing and add adventure. A good design for stacking loops puts easier, wider, and more accessible trails closer to the trailhead.
The core loop we want to be easy, mellow grades, wide open, good sight lines, but as we get further out, the people who are fit, have the energy, they're looking for an adventure, we can get out and add the tight twists and turns and the steeper grades out there because they have the time and they want that kind of experience.
Here is a sustainable trail design, and it's really fun to ride. Let's take a look at its design features. When water runs off the hillside, it moves in dispersed sheets called sheet flow. The key to sustainability is to keep water sheeting across your trail, not down it. Each element in this section, the 10% average guideline, the half rule, the maximum sustainable grade, grade reversals, and outslope tread helps move water across the trail. For your trail to be sustainable, the average grade of each up and downhill section needs to be 10% or less. To calculate this 10% average, divide the elevation rise over the run. In this example, this uphill section gains 475 feet in elevation and is 1 mile long, or 5,280 feet. This gives us an average trail grade of about 9%. For your design, calculate the grade for each up and downhill section, keeping each grade at 10% or less.
IMBA has been designing and building and maintaining trails now for 16 years. And we've learned a lot. And one thing we've learned is that the average percentage grade doesn't need to be high for the trail to be challenging. Most of the trails that we design and build will have no more than an average of a 10% sustained grade.
Using this 10% average guideline in your design now will give you flexibility when laying your trail out in the field. Now that your trail is drawn on the map, it gives you a general idea of where the trail will go, but doesn't tell you the exact placement of the trail. To lay your trail out on the ground, you will use two rules: the half rule and the maximum sustainable grade. These will limit how steep each section of trail can be. Before we look at these rules, we need to learn how to use a clinometer, an instrument used to measure trail grades and hill slopes. To use a clinometer, you will need to zero it out with your partner. Have your partner stand a short distance from you on flat ground. Look through the clino, lining up the horizontal line on zero. With your other eye, find where the horizontal line intersects a spot on your partner. Here, 0 intersects my partner's eyes. The scale on the right is in percent. This is the one you want to use. Now let's learn how to use the half rule and the maximum sustainable grade. The half rule is very important for laying out a sustainable trail. Let's look at one section of trail as an example. To calculate the half rule for this section of trail, you'll first need to measure the hill slope. Have your partner move up the hillside while you stand below the proposed trail. Look through the clino and line up the line with your partner's target. This hill slope is 16%. A sustainable trail should be no more than half the hill slope. This trail section needs to be half of 16%, 8% or less. This is the half rule. To lay out this section of trail, mark your spot with flagging tape. Make sure the knot faces the intended trail, showing the construction crew where the trail is supposed to go. Next, have your partner move along the intended trail, keeping each other in sight. Align the clino with your partner's target. When the clino reads 8% or less, have your partner mark his spot with flagging. Don't use spray paint for flagging your trail.
We don't need to use anything permanent. That's why we have stuff like this, which is flagging tape. But there's no reason you need to use spray paint when you're out in the woods. It's just ugly and it's unnatural, and it doesn't really add to the user experience when they're out here on the trail.
Continue to flag the rest of the trail.